You become what you think about. It's not just a phrase. It's a principle. It's the law. Now you might say, Jim, that sounds too simple. But let me tell you, simple is often the most powerful. Let me say it again. You become what you think about. The question is, what are you thinking about? Because that thought, that idea, that whisper inside your mind, it's shaping your future. I used to ask myself, how did I get here? And more importantly, why haven't I gotten further? And then someone asked me a question that changed my life. Jim, what have you been thinking about? And I said, well, I've been thinking about my bills, my problems, my mistakes. And he said, that's why your life looks the way it does. Oh, wow. See, here's the secret. Your life is the reflection of your dominant thoughts. If you think poverty, you attract it. If you think success, you begin to move toward it. If you think confusion, you create chaos. If you think clarity, the fog lifts. It's not magic. It's mindset. So many people try to change their circumstances, but they never change their thoughts. They rearrange the furniture in their life, but never rebuild the foundation of their mind. Let me tell you something. You can't plant apple seeds and expect oranges. You can't think fear, worry, and doubt and expect success, peace, and prosperity. Doesn't work that way. You become what you think about. So, if you want to change your life, don't start with the outside. Start with the inside. Change your thinking, and your world begins to change. Your mind is like a garden. It doesn't care what you plant. It will return what you sow. Plant weeds. Get weeds. Plant flowers. Get beauty. Plant greatness. Get growth. But if you don't plant anything on purpose, guess what grows? Negative thoughts, fear, doubt, laziness. The mind left unattended doesn't stay neutral. It defaults to the negative. So what do? You discipline your thoughts. You become a gardener of the mind. You pull the weeds. You plant the seeds. You water the vision. And then you wait. You trust. You stay consistent. I once said, work harder on yourself than you do on your job, because the job will make you a living, but working on your mind, that will make you a fortune. Don't just clock in and clock out every day and expect life to magically change. Clock in on your personal development. Clock in on your thinking. Clock in on your beliefs. Because thoughts are seeds, and your future is the harvest. Let me tell you a little story. There was a man who walked around saying, nothing good ever happens to me. He believed it. He repeated it. He lived it. And guess what? Nothing good ever did. He wasn't cursed. He was conditioned. He thought failure, so he found failure. Now, what if he had said, something good is on its way? What if he believed the opposite? Would his life have changed overnight? No. But surely, step by step, his beliefs would shape his reality. That's what I want you to get today. You don't have to change everything overnight. Just change one thought. One powerful thought can set your life on a new path. So let me ask you again, what are you thinking about? Because if you're always thinking about lack, you'll live in it. If you're always thinking about growth, you'll grow into it. You become what you think about. Not sometimes, not maybe, every time. And once you understand that truth, you become powerful beyond measure. Your thoughts are the steering wheel of your life. If you let go of the wheel, you crash, you drift, you end up in places you never intended to go. But if you grab that wheel with strength, with intention, with clarity, you can go anywhere. See, most people don't think about their thoughts. They just have them. They don't filter. They don't question. They just react. And then they wonder, why is my life always out of control? It's because your mind is driving, but you're not in the driver's seat. Now let me tell you, taking control of your thoughts is not easy, but it is necessary. Because if you don't run your mind will run you. You've got to learn to grab the mic. Step up and interrupt the old story. You know the story. I'm not good enough. This always happens to me. I'm just not the kind of person who succeeds. You've got to ask, whose voice is that? Yours or someone else's. Because many of the thoughts you're thinking today aren't even yours. They're leftovers. From the past. From fear. From failure. From somebody who gave up on themselves and told you to do the same. Now, here's something powerful I discovered. The mind will serve you well, but only if you become its master. It's like a computer. Program it right, it runs smooth. Program it wrong, it crashes your future. But unlike a machine, your mind talks back. And some of those conversations are toxic, limiting, dangerous. So what do? You don't silence the voice, you replace it. You say, I am capable. I am worthy. I am learning, growing, and improving. You rewire the internal script. You choose the thoughts that serve you. Because thoughts are like bricks. And every day you're building a castle or a prison. Imagine this: if you fed your body junk every day, how would you feel? Tired, sluggish, sick. But that's what most people do with their mind. They feed it drama, negativity, complaints, excuses. And then they wonder why they're mentally exhausted. Let me suggest something simple, but life-changing. Be careful what you feed your mind. Start your day with something positive. A good book, a strong quote, a goal, a dream, because your first thoughts in the morning set the tone for the rest of the day. Guard your mind like a gatekeeper. Don't let just anything walk in. I used to say, stand guard at the door of your mind. Not once a month. Not on weekends. Every day. You wouldn't leave your front door wide open to just anyone on the street. Don't leave your mind wide open to every opinion, every fear, every doubt. Lock the door. And only let in what builds you up. Because if you don't shape your mind, the world will do it for you. And they're not always designing with your future in mind. Here's a little exercise I started doing years ago. Whenever I'd catch a negative thought, I'd say out loud, that's not my truth anymore. Simple, but powerful. Because when you speak it, you take control. You tell your mind, we're not doing that anymore. You interrupt the pattern. You insert a new belief. You say, I used to think I wasn't enough, but now I'm building strength. I used to fear failure, but now I see failure as feedback. I used to shrink back, but now I stand up. That's how you take control of your thoughts before they take control of you. So let me ask you, what thoughts are you entertaining today? Are they pulling you forward or holding you back? Are they lighting a fire or putting it out? Because every thought you think is either planting your future or burying it. Take control now. Be deliberate. Be aware. Because once you change the direction of your thoughts, you change the direction of your life. Thoughts repeated become beliefs. And beliefs, they shape everything. Not just how you see the world, but how you show up in it. Now listen closely. What you believe about yourself becomes your reality. That's not just philosophy. That's not just theory. That's your life. It starts small. You think a thought. Something like, I'm not that good with people. Or, I don't know if I'm cut out for success. You think it once, no big deal. But you think it again and again and again. Soon, it becomes your truth. Even if it's a lie. That's how beliefs are built. And here's the danger: your brain doesn't ask if it's true. It just obeys. Beliefs are like blueprints. And your life, that's the building. Now if you've got a shaky blueprint, guess what? You get a shaky life. If the blueprint says, I'm not worthy, you'll never step into success. If the blueprint says, money is evil, you'll sabotage every opportunity that comes your way. If the blueprint says, this is just the way I've always been, then you'll never stretch, never grow, never break free. So the question becomes, who gave you the blueprint? Because chances are it wasn't you. It was handed to you by family, by teachers, by experience, by society. Some of it helpful, much of it limiting. I'll tell you what changed my life. You don't have to accept the old blueprint. You can redesign it. You can rewire it. You can tear it down and build something extraordinary. But you've got to challenge the old beliefs. Every time you say, I've always been this way, stop, pause. and ask, but is that who I want to be? You're not a tree. You can move. You can shift. You can grow. That's the beauty of being human. We can change. I used to tell people, don't just walk around with your fingers crossed, hoping life turns out okay. Design it. And that design starts with belief. Believe you can learn. Believe you can improve. Believe your past doesn't define your future. And I'll tell you something else. If someone else has done it, you can do it. That belief alone can break the chains of limitation. Because once the mind accepts something as possible, it starts looking for the how. Let me give you a practical picture. Beliefs are like lenses. If you wear red glasses, everything looks red. Doesn't matter what the object is. Your lens changes how you see it. Now, if your lens says, I'm a failure, you'll see failure in everything, even your progress. But if your lens says, I'm capable and I'm improving, you'll see opportunity even in the setbacks. See how that works? The belief creates the filter. The filter shapes your focus. And your focus directs your future. That's why beliefs matter. Beliefs are agreements. At some point you said, this is who I am. But you can renegotiate. You can say, I no longer believe I'm stuck. I now believe I'm capable of massive growth. Write a new agreement with yourself. Something you'd be proud to live by. Because the most powerful beliefs are the ones you choose consciously. So I'll ask you, what blueprint are you working from? Is it solid? Is it strong? Or is it full of fear and limitation? You become what you think about. And what you think, over time, becomes what you believe. So design your beliefs. Upgrade your blueprint. Don't settle for someone else's version of your life. Because here's the truth. Your future is built not by luck or chance, but by belief and bold decisions. Take hold of your beliefs, shape them, strengthen them, and they'll shape everything else. Now, let's talk about something simple, but powerful. Focus. You know what I've learned? Where your focus goes, your energy flows. And where your energy flows, results begin to show. It's easy to ignore, but it shapes your entire life. Not all at once, but little by little, day by day. Like drops of water carving stone, your daily focus shapes your future. See, we can't control the weather. We can't control the economy. We can't always control people. But we can control one thing, what we choose to focus on. And here's the secret. Whatever you focus on with consistency becomes your life. You may not believe that at first. I didn't either. But let me tell you a story. I once met two young men. Same town, same age, same background. But 10 years later, their lives looked completely different. One was thriving, successful, confident, building his dream. The other, still struggling, still blaming, still stuck. So I asked them both, tell me, what's on your mind most days? The successful one said, I wake up and focus on what I can build, what I can learn, what I can do. The other said, I think about all the things that could go wrong, all the people that never helped me. Two minds, two focuses, two futures. It's not what happens that determines your life. It's what you focus on after it happens. See, here's the law. Your life is always moving in the direction of your most dominant thoughts. If your thoughts are negative, your direction will follow. If your thoughts are empowering, your actions will rise to meet them. That's why you've got to guard your focus, because focus isn't neutral. It's a tool, and tools can build or destroy. Now, most people don't lose the battle of success because they lack goals. They lose because they lose focus. Daily, you might have a vision, a dream, a mission. But if your focus keeps drifting, you'll lose your way. Focus is the anchor, the compass, the glue. Discipline weighs ounces. Regret weighs tons. And focus is the beginning of discipline. You don't need to do everything. You just need to do the right things consistently. One of the best lessons I ever learned was this: repetition is the mother of skill. And repetition doesn't just build skill. It builds focus. You wake up. You review your goals. You listen to something uplifting. You write down your thoughts. You visualize the person you're becoming, and you do it again and again, and again, not for a day, but for a lifetime, because what you repeat becomes your rhythm, and your rhythm becomes your results. You know what breaks people's focus? Distraction. Every ding on your phone, every opinion on the internet, every piece of junk information. I used to say, stand guard at the door of your mind. Don't let just anything in. Would you let garbage pile up in your kitchen? Then why let garbage pile up in your mind? Turn off what doesn't serve you. Tune into what does. Because every time you allow distraction to take the wheel, you delay your destiny. Let's make one thing clear. You don't have to be perfect. Some days you'll get it right. Other days not so much. But focus isn't about perfection. It's about direction. Are you moving closer to your goals or further away? That's all that matters. Even small steps count if they're in the right direction. Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. And discipline begins with choosing what to focus on. Want to improve your focus? Change the questions you ask yourself. Instead of, why is this happening to me? Ask, what can I learn from this? Instead of, what if I fail? Ask, what if this is the moment I change my life? Because better questions sharpen your focus, and sharper focus leads to stronger results. You can't become your best self by thinking about your worst fears. You can't build a new future while constantly revisiting an old one. You can't grow while focusing on what's shrinking. Your dominant thoughts write the script, and your daily focus directs the scene. So start now. Today, this moment. Decide who you want to become and then focus on it daily. Speak it. Write it. Act on it. Because what you think about and what you focus on, that's what you become. We've talked about thoughts. We've talked about beliefs. We've talked about focus. But here's the truth that can't be ignored. Thoughts are seeds, but action is the harvest. You can dream all day. You can think and plan and visualize, but if you don't act, nothing changes. Nothing grows. Action finishes the job. There's a saying I've shared many times. Discipline is the bridge between thought and accomplishment. You see, action is that bridge. It carries you from the invisible world of thought into the visible world of reality. Without action, your best ideas just stay ideas. You don't become what you think about. You become what you do about what you think about. Now, you might be thinking, I don't know where to start. That's okay. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. You don't have to leap mountains tomorrow. Start small. Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. Make one phone call, write one paragraph, read one page, take one action, no matter how small. Small steps, taken consistently, build unstoppable momentum. Often, the biggest thing stopping us is fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of the unknown. But here's a secret. Fear is simply the result of thinking about what might go wrong before you take action. The antidote, action. The moment you move, fear loses its grip because action creates experience. Experience creates confidence. Confidence creates momentum. You've got to commit. Commitment isn't just a word. It's a decision, a daily choice. Don't wish it were easier. Wish you were better. When you commit, you accept that the road might be tough, but you keep moving forward anyway. That's where real growth happens. Think about it. We don't wait to feel like brushing our teeth. We just do it. What if you made action toward your goals just as automatic? Create routines that push you forward. Set daily, weekly, monthly targets. Motivation gets you going, but discipline keeps you growing. The discipline to act, whether you feel like it or not, is what separates dreamers from achievers. Now, remember, you become what you think about. But now, add this. You become what you consistently act upon. Your thoughts create your vision. Your actions build your reality. Make sure they match. If you think success but act lazy, nothing changes. If you think about growth but act distracted, nothing changes. Your actions must align with your thoughts. Perfection is a myth. Waiting for the perfect moment is the thief of time. If you wait for perfect conditions, you'll never get anything done. Start where you are. Use what you have. Do what you can. Action breeds clarity. Movement reveals the next step. Sometimes action is easier when you're accountable. Share your goals with someone. Find a mentor or partner. Create systems that keep you honest. Because when you're accountable, you push harder. You show up more. Action isn't only about reaching the finish line. It's about the progress. Celebrate the steps you take. Because success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out. Every action, no matter how small, builds your new identity. So here's the bottom line. Thought is the seed. Belief is the soil. Focus is the water. But action is the sunlight. Without action, nothing grows. No change, no progress. You become what you think about only when you act on it. Today, I challenge you, take one step forward. Do one thing that moves you closer to your dream. Because the bridge from thought to reality is built one action at a time. Thank you for listening. Your destiny is waiting, and it starts with the choice to act.